WP-Get Web Dev Tutorials for all user levels. All right, guys, so it's been a little while. You might notice I haven't thrown up any tutorials recently. Been trying to figure out what's worth doing. There's lots and lots of information up there. I want to try and make what I put up there worthwhile and in some ways a little different. So what I've been working on is the last time I put up a tutorial, I was talking about creating widgets using unlimited elements as a way of sharing with the community. And I've just been thinking a lot about how to do that and where I'm going to do it. And I've come up with some ideas. But what I want to do first is before I implement the site to share these things, I want to make sure that I've got some reasonable widgets to put up there. So one thing I kind of see that's missing, that's asked for a little bit, is a connection between widgets. There are some that do that, like for example, with unlimited elements, there is a section in there called remote, and you can connect certain things together, like their carousel, their image gallery, some navigation buttons, things like that. You can connect those together so they all work together. But I haven't seen anything that connects together what's already existing or other people's or other vendors' things. I know it's a little bit tricky because kind of tying yourself, if those vendors change the way they do things, then it might break the way yours work because you don't have control over what they do. I wanted to look at this as something as an idea. So what I've come up with here is I need to do some work on this. This is just initial concept stuff here. So on this page here, we can see I've got a Elementor accordion. So this whole widget here is an Elementor accordion. I've got a Crocoblock jet tabs accordion here. And these two work quite differently to each other, which has created some challenges in my thinking. I've got a Jet Engine listing grid just as a grid, not as a slider. When I get my concepts, the working model right, and then I'll start working at other things as well. I've then got a Elementor hotspot widget here, and then I've got a unlimited elements widget here, which I created, that listens for JavaScript events and displays something. So I want to show you the concept of this. So if I click on, for example, on accordion 2 over here, what I see is the accordion 2 or toggle 2 opened here, image 2 in the grids here, and the hotspot is on number 2. If I click on number 3, this has gone to 3. Selected image is number 3. This is number 3 here. Down here, it tells me what I've actually clicked on. Now, this is something that I'll go into a little bit later in the JavaScript. Now, if I go back to here and I click on toggle 1, it does the same thing. So it updates the accordion, the image, and the hotspot. A little bit of a logic issue to resolve here, but if I click on, say, image number 4 here, logic I've got to resolve is this stuff here where that's still showing as being highlighted. So you can see down here, I've clicked on a listing grid. I've got option 4 here, option 4 there, and option 4 here. Same with the hotspots. If I click on number 2, it goes to 2, that goes to 2, this goes to number 2, and that tells me I've clicked on a hotspot. So this is what I want to work on, is connecting the standard Elementor widgets. And initially I'm going to work on the Crocoblock widgets, so the Jet Engine widgets, Jet Elements widgets, and the Jet Tabs stuff, which is like this accordion here. I want to try looking at remoting things that already exist together. And there's some code, quite a bit of code to figure out with that. So that's what I want to work on. I'm going to probably put something up there next week, spend more time working out some of the logic. Some of the challenges I have is that these widgets quite often work quite differently. For example, with this accordion here, when I click on a accordion title, it opens this accordion and it collapses everything else. Same with this. Now this Jet Tabs accordion has 2 different modes. where one is to toggle it open, and the other one, and it'll click on that and it works the same as this. In the other mode, it just opens each individual one and leaves it open, which doesn't really work with the concept here. The other thing is, for example, these hotspot widgets, they toggle on and toggle off. So it doesn't quite work with how you would expect. So if that toggles off, I'd want that to be unselected, this to be closed, that to be closed. So that's the kind of stuff I need to work out, and there's going to be some time involved in doing that. Now, I'm trying to make this in a way that is something that other people can edit and add to as well. So if I come back to my actual page this is created on, so I've got a standard Elementor accordion here. All I have to do is add a class to that, which is remote control. And that will then add it to the linkage here. So I can change that whatever I want. And each of these, I just have the class of remote control on there, and that links them all together. Probably moving forward, I'd want to have this more modular so that you can group things. So you might have a section where they're linked and another section is completely different widgets that are linked just by having a different class. So that's something I've got to work on. So the basic JavaScript here, when I say basic, it's not that basic, but is in here. I'm not going to go through this whole thing here, where what I want to do is be able to add types. So, up here at the moment, I've got Elementor accordions, Elementor hotspot, Jet accordion, Jet listing grid, and Jet listing grid as a slider are the options that I'm going to work on. And this is where you can control which items actually belong to that group. Now, then what we do is we initialize and for each different type, so the accordions, we look for the accordion items, and they become our items. In the hotspot, we're looking for the hotspot button, which becomes our items for the remote control linkage. And then we're just adding event listeners here. In this case, it's for, where are we? When you click, when I start adding sliders, it might be on a change event from the slider. So every time you click something on here, it'll run the click event, which you do a debounce on, so it's not going to open and close on you. And then we update all the registered containers. So all 1, 2, 3, 4 containers in this case will all be registered as their particular item type. And then when any one of these is clicked, we want to update all of the containers with the current element. So the update all, sorry, this is the initialization. So I have to add each type of widget in here. So there's a bit of work to do to make this work. And then we've got the state updaters. So we run, when any of these clicked, we run this update all function, which basically throws the event. So we're calling it WP get remote index change. The custom event, what type of widget was clicked, which container, so the widget element, so the outer widget element, and then which actual item on that widget was actually clicked. So we run those in events so you can get creative. If you're familiar with JavaScript, you can get creative and you can use this to do whatever you want. So that's a really, really cool way of doing it. We're dispatching that on window, which I've just got a short cut to here by the closure up here. So window and document. Where are we? Okay. So then we're getting all the registered containers. So all of these that are registered, and we're iterating through all of them and running their updater. So this start updater, state updater, for whichever type it is, it calls the function. Up here, for example, with the Elementor state Elementor accordion state updater, we're just debugging out to the console if debugging is enabled, and then we're we're then going through and selecting that tab title, hitting the click. So we'd do this when another container is clicked. So if I hit the toggle 1 here, we want this to be clicked so that that opens. So that's what this does. So a little bit involved. I'm not going to go way too deep because I've got a lot of work to do before I get this up there. A couple of little debugging things. But it is debug constant. And what I'm using that for is if that's enabled, then we console log whatever we send to it. So the idea is that down here for debugging, for example, I've got debug, will update elemental hotspot. Now, what that does is that if I set debugging to false, nothing's going to get echoed out to the console. It's a simple way instead of just having to comment out all of your debugging stuff. So if you look in here, you'll see all the stuff here. So there that. So if I click on accordion 1, this is all the debugging happened. If I get back to here, set my debug to false. Date. Now if I click on these accordions, I don't get anything echoed out to the console. So this is a really good way to work when you're figuring stuff out. So pretty much what I'm up to. I want to probably spend another week, possibly 2, on perfecting the logic, getting my brain around how the different elements function and how we deal with that when one of them's clicked. I need to work on some of the initialization so it works better. And then I need to add some more elements to this. So sort of things I might look at is like the the portfolio gallery, the post grid, standard galleries, adding those. What else have we got here? Like a basic gallery or a standard gallery. I haven't actually got all the jet element stuff enabled in here, so we might enable something for the vertical tile line, for the jet tabs. What else have we got? Nothing really. So there's all sorts of stuff in Crocoblock that I'm going to work on with this, but I'll just go work out what that is. Now, I mentioned quickly this widget here, which is the one that every time we click on one of these, it's saying what we actually clicked on. Okay, so that there is a widget, which is this widget here, my dynamic text from a JavaScript event. All we do with that is what event are we listening to and what property are we listening to. So if you go back to this JavaScript here, see that every time we run the update, where are we? Every time we run the update all, I'm firing off a custom event with this event name. In the detail, we're providing the widget type, content, so the container element and the item element as data. So we can listen to that and pull any of this data out, do what we like. So coming back to that JavaScript over here again, throw the event over here. All we do is listening for that, pull out the widget type, and that's what's going to get where this dash is at the moment. That will get updated for this text. Pretty much how that works. So yeah, I hope that is something that you'll see as being valuable. Really wanting to work on something that people actually can use rather than just repeating tutorials that are already out there. There's lots of great tutorials already there. I'm trying to do something a bit different, and I'm hoping that this is it. So let me know what you think, and if it's too advanced, not really usable, or you think it's a good idea. So please let me know. And if you're interested in what I'm doing, please subscribe to my channel and communicate with me to let me know what you think. Thank you.